Texas has only one Michelin-recognized Jamaican restaurant, and it was started by a chef who refused to water anything down. You might have seen Nicola Blaque on Guy Fieri's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Or if you're lucky, you've tasted her food at the Jerk Shack, which earned national recognition seemingly overnight. But what you don't see on the menu is the story underneath it. The immigrant kid who lost her Jamaican accent trying to fit in. The Army veteran who learned to survive in two worlds at once. And the woman who brought Caribbean food to a city that wasn't sure it was ready for it. Today, we're sitting down with Chef Nicola Blaque to hear how she turned skepticism into one of the most celebrated kitchens in Texas. What do you think people are maybe most surprised about when they sit down with you and chat?
I'm an immigrant. I came to the U.S. when I was 5. My mom and my dad, they're from Jamaica. But I came here to live with my mom, my stepdad, who's also from Jamaica. And at the time, I moved to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. And I don't know if you're familiar with Portsmouth, New Hampshire, but there's not a lot of people that look like me. And then coming with a very strong Caribbean accent, and life was just kind of lifing and rough very early on. Just me being here in the U.S., my stepdad being in the Air Force, us moving every couple years, it made it really hard for me to connect with my Jamaican culture, connect with friends, connect with family. So I think pretty much from 5 to 18, I really struggled with my identity, who I wanted to be, who I wanted to be around, and I joined the Army. The only thing when I was in the Army that I really felt like truly connected me to myself or my family or anything was food. When I shared that with people, they assumed I've worked in restaurants and I've been around all this food, and it's like, really, I haven't. It's just the one thing that kept me whole throughout all of this.
Does that feel like the same person who went to war 3 times?
Listen, I'm a mom now, and none of that feels the same. You don't know that life evolved so much over time. You don't think that one day you're going to be in a bunker praying that this rocket doesn't hit you, to the next time you're taking care of an adult, a little baby. I don't know how to do this, but I have to keep you alive. And I've got employees that depend on me, and their families depending on me. And it's like you're the same person, but in different lives.
Maybe along the lines of things that are hard to reconcile. You very quickly, it seems, earned a lot of awards and recognition with your work, starting the Jerk Shack only in 2018. Perhaps of all that, what's most surprised you personally, do you feel?
The biggest surprise of all of this is that it's happening to me. I got out the Army 2013. I didn't start culinary school until 2014, 2015. I didn't have a playbook for any of this. I'm literally just watching chefs and picking up small bits and just moving and navigating. And I moved so blindly in a lot of decisions that I made, because who do you ask? I don't know anyone else who has a Caribbean restaurant like my restaurant, serving the food that I want to serve. And I'm doing this without any knowledge. And it's surprising that I'm doing and people like it, and it's taking off. I just keep going. And when I talk about my team, it's not just because they work for me and they're great employees, but they believe in it and they follow through with my vision. And I think that's really important, to have that support system, that cushion that says, okay, chef, that's what you want to do next. Let's try that. Let's push the limits. And I don't think any of all this would have happened without some key team members.
I imagine that people are very inspired by what seems like a sense of mission and drive. And from what I could gather as I prepped for this, you seem to be someone who's interested in doing something, not just because it's lucrative or profitable, you're doing it because it's important. Where does that come from? Is that family influence? Is that time spent in the military?
A little bit of everything, like being an immigrant, being different. You see what the times are. The same way that I came to the States in the 80s, that's what it felt like. Being different, you were made fun of, treated badly. It's little things like that it made me want to fight. I was going to war at 18, 19, not having any knowledge of really what life is, but I signed myself up into the Army just hoping for a better future, not knowing I'm going to war, and having to have the mental toughness to make it through that. And there is life after, even after 2 more times being deployed. Like, that's rough. I feel like I'm really blessed. I'm really blessed to be able to have another life after the military and to bring it to such, dreams. It's unbelievable.
What I caught too in my due diligence is that period between the military and then deciding to attend the CIA, the Culinary Institute here in San Antonio, was a little bit of sorting through, that challenging period of what you do next. That's something I'm sure that many folks in San Antonio area, being military city USA, can certainly resonate with that challenge.
I had a little more freedom. I didn't have kids, just my stepson, who was in elementary going to middle at the time. What I was able to do was truly like a blessing, to be able to just be like, yep, this is what I'm doing now. Even with opening this jerk shack, I knew I wasn't going to survive at the old jerk shack. I felt it every day, and I was just like, I need to come up with a better plan. Transitioning to freight, I had roti, this concept, near and dear to me, and it wasn't working. And I knew, I have to think of something that is going to work, that's going to be approachable, that's going to open me up to, people that want to try my food and go down this road with me. And, that's just what I've been able to do. I've been blessed to make those transitions, but also see the writing when it's on the wall. Hopefully that maintains.
How welcoming do you feel like San Antonio was to the concepts of the restaurants?
There were 2 things. There was a lot of excitement, but there was also a lot of skepticism. Like, some people who wanted me to be a certain way and not this way, or the food that I'm putting out, they wanted it a certain way. And I just stood strong. Like, what I'm feeling inside about what I want to put out, I need to keep going in that direction. And it didn't always make people happy, and we got some bad reviews out of it. But where I look at where we're at right now and what's happening with Caribbean food, I feel like it's an evolution. And I kind of just stirred the pot a little bit, and now it's blooming. You've got Chop and Block, who is in Houston, and they were in the Michelin Guide, best new restaurant on Forbes list, and they just hit another list. And I'm just like, man, what I was doing, what I felt, there were other chefs feeling like it. There were other people from the Caribbean and Africa that felt what I'm feeling.
Yeah.
I wasn't alone in that. And I'm glad I stuck to my guts to really put this out, because I feel like it only contributed to the greatness that's out there today.
I'm interested to hear, what was particularly or has been particularly challenging in the ecosystem of San Antonio. From my vantage, your success story is one that we want replicated in San Antonio.
Yeah.
Food that we can lay claim to here in our city, pushing our food scene forward, and the success of your business as well, coupled with that. What does San Antonio do particularly well, and what maybe were areas in which you'd hope for, chefs in your position where friction is reduced or things are made easy?
Well, one, I think San Antonio has the best group of chefs. Every chef that I've ever came across with has been more than pleasant to me, but also very helpful, very collaborative. It's a positive environment. Where I think that we can work on is San Antonio is so new to diverse cultures. And it's we have to get out of what we're used to and open our minds to something new or evolved. We need to get to that space. If we can get to that space, we can get more chefs to create rather than be there to just fulfill a need. I lived in Hawaii for a long time, and I love Hawaiian food, but I love the flavors of it. Yeah. And I wanted to incorporate that into Jerk Shack. Is it authentic? No, but it's authentically for me. I'm putting out flavors that I love, and I'm Jamaican. And I think early on, some people kind of struggled what that looks like, but here we are now in 2025, and people are just finding out that there's a whole Chinese population in Jamaica, and rice came to the Caribbean from the Chinese. Having those stories, having that knowledge to really put it out there to kind of help people understand. And I think our success was not just from me standing strong with what I wanted, but being able to share like those pieces of me through my food that captivated audiences outside of San Antonio.
For viewers who aren't familiar with the Jerk Shack or Freight, what should they try?
At the Jerk Shack, I always recommend trying our mixed chicken plate first. It comes with 2 pieces of jerk chicken, 2 pieces of fried chicken, and any 2 sides that you want. And I think that plate is really just, it shows like the connection of cultures. Me being a Caribbean American and whoever else coming in, like this is the starting ground. The mac and cheese here is phenomenal. It's a recipe that I've worked on for years. Once you've experienced that a couple times, our braised oxtails. Those are the #1 sellers here. We only sell them Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then at Freight, I would say I love our chicken sandwich the most. We put 3 huge tenders on the sandwich, and you get some of our buffalo sauce and a side of slaw right on there, and you've got this nice, big chicken sandwich.
I love the more broad view that it seems you've taken to either of your restaurants, the plates that you're serving. You recounted the story of the history of fried chicken, for example.
Yes, yeah.
But that's maybe not commonplace for someone to really want to do the deep dive, to understand the history.
Yeah, I think I sometimes struggle when something's not sitting right with me. Like, I pray, I'm going, almost having arguments with myself in my head, but I just want to have a deeper understanding. Like, there's so much that we don't know and so much taught in school that doesn't really matter. I don't like when people put things into a box. When we started frying chicken here, my #1 goal was to open myself up to other communities. I was like, people are not going to come to Jerk Shack every day just for jerk chicken, though we do have some. But I was like, how do I open myself up? And we had this jerk fried chicken wing that always sold out every day, but I hated doing these whole wings because if you make them go 30 seconds longer, they're burnt, they taste nasty, they're dry. Because I've never owned a restaurant or anything, I had to lean on those chefs to say, like, what kind of fryers do you have? And how do you do this? How do you keep up with production? And they were very gracious to like share that information with me. So we started frying chicken. The first year that we fried chicken here at Jerk Shack, we hit Eater's best fried chicken list. Unbelievable. When I say we've never sold so much fried chicken, but I couldn't believe it. Yeah. You know, I was just like, man, I didn't know that that's like a huge thing. Fast forward, I'm struggling with me roti, and I'm just like, man, I'm gonna have to close this place. I prayed about it, and I came back with open a fried chicken restaurant. Like, that's what's missing here. Like a quick service, grab a sandwich, grab tenders, something. Then I went to sleep. My heart started like, what's going on? It said, you're gonna be the Black woman at the Pearl frying chicken. You might as well start selling watermelon and Kool-Aid. And I was like, I don't wanna be that person. This is the community that I'm gonna be serving. I need them to know where the stories of fried chicken come from. And so when I initially started, my goal was to just tell the history of fried chicken, but then it ended up getting deeper, and I came across these women called the waiter carriers. And I felt like they were like me journeying here to San Antonio, never opening a restaurant, not having any culinary knowledge, just come buy my food. And that's what they were. They were like, we need to make money for our families. Let's go walk for miles and carry fried chicken, coffee, and biscuits. And so I could relate to them. I felt their pain because I know my pain. And I was like, I'm gonna lead with this. More than any other story, these women are like me.
What's the experience like for your 2 young kids, your son and your daughter?
They love to know what mommy does every day. They wanna know, where were you at? My kids, they call freight. They don't know how to say freight correctly, so they say train work. And so they're like, were you at Jerk Shack or train work? And that's how they, can kind of figure out. Then they'll be like, oh, were you cooking? Were you break down the day. Last night I was like, let's play this little game. And we did this in my daughter's room. So they were both against the bed. And I was like, put your hands straight. And then I kept giving them little, instructions. I'm like, turn around, close your eyes, put your leg up. And they were just like laughing the whole time. And then I was like, all right, get in the car. And so my son's like pretending to drive the car with my daughter in it. And I'm like, go to your favorite restaurant. And my daughter says, go to Jerk Shack. And I was like, man, you know?
Yeah.
That was the coolest part. Every family that's building something, for your kids to understand even just a small part, it means the world.
From her early years searching for identity to becoming one of the most celebrated chefs in Texas, Chef Nicola's journey is one of resilience, grit, and vision. Conversations like this help us understand how San Antonio continues to grow and who is driving that growth. Thanks so much for watching this episode of Big City, Small Town, and a special thank you to our sponsors, Geekdom, Weston Urban, and Plains Capital Bank, for helping us bring stories like this to life. We'll see you next time.